Yep, I posted all the places before the countdown. Huzzah!
At the actual last millisecond, I reposted your on your
just got the
story. I was like,
notification.
wait!
It's okay.
I don't want Fox to be mad. And then he wouldn't get mad at me.
To my knowledge, he has not begun to stalk regular social medias to make sure you post. So
It's premeditating making Fox happy.
he says, Fox is what the fucking Matt 3 times, and I don't know why.
Me?
What did Matt do?
I just got here.
To your knowledge, Sam. Yes, to my knowledge. Then he thanked CB. I still don't know what's going on, Matt. I'm sorry.
What have I done?
Be yourself.
Oh, you moved spots.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
background is
Yeah.
different.
I'm by a window now.
You've confused the Fox.
Yeah.
I move spots too. No one cares.
Well,
He expects you to move
before,
spots,
though. Yeah.
though. I think
I
this
move
is
spots
legitimately the
immediately.
first time Matt is in a
It is
different
100%. And I'm still in the same room. I'm just in a different part of the room.
I have no idea what that room looks like.
Look, I just need everybody to know that I was super distracted by the fact that Matt's shirt is kind of the same blue as the poll option on YouTube. And so that's what I was focused on.
That was on purpose.
Oh, yes.
Oh, of course. Hello. Yes, to my knowledge. I don't know everything he gets up to in the wee hours of the day.
I have to wear the glasses so I don't
Matt
get
has-
headaches from looking at a screen, but I can't see my own eyes.
I would, if I
Look,
could teleport, I
that's my
would
problem.
definitely use it to teleport to the other side of a small room.
100%.
Same.
Like
I am
something I
fine.
can definitely do in one stride.
Laura's finally going back and finishing a horror short story started over a year
Nice.
ago. I feel that because my current things are so my outline, I've added in all the new plot lines that I needed to, and I sent them to Fox. Unfortunately, because my outline is designed for my brain, which is very not neurotypical. I forgot the word for that. Aneurotypical? Anyway, I'm my dog jumped off my bed, sorry. I'm dyslexic and some other things. And yeah, so like quite a few of his notes were like, Sam, how did this get to here? And he's all like, whose perspective is this from? And I'm like, that's just Sam notes. That's not actually going in the draft. So like my next goal for my outline is just to I'm gonna have 2 different outlines. I'm gonna have my Sam outline, which is for my mental processing, and then like the CP outline, which is the one that's going to strictly be the perspective of the characters and like what's going on in the story there. And so, but the good news is I know where all of the little connecty bits need to go in, because that was like my problem going back and just looking at it myself. Like all of it was in here. So I was like, I don't know where I need to add the connecty bits. And Fox definitely let me know where I need to add the connecty bits. So that's going to happen. And I will say my favorite Fox comment was like, basically, this is my phrasing, but the spirit of what he said, it's like, your main character is an angsty ball of irresponsibility and rage. And he's
I
like,
feel that.
and you like compelling characters aren't a problem for you. You always write a compelling character. So I'm not really worried. I just need you to know from the outline this is how she is. And I'm like, the faith.
The
But
faith.
also, yes, there's more to her. It's like there's don't worry, I'll fix that. But yes. But before I can go do all of that, I'm going back and working on 2 short stories. One of them has a lot of revision notes. Then go potty. Okay. Sorry, my child came from the garage to tell me he needed to go potty upstairs.
He had a thought process.
Yeah.
You just aren't privy to it.
Apparently. So, one of the short stories, I had a lot more revision notes than I thought I did. So I'm going through that one right now, and then the next one I think is just a general read through, and then I have to find short story editors, and that's like my priority, so I can get those up on my website. And I like started this process, I want to say a year and a half ago. So yeah. Yeah, because all that glitters had finished its beta process by June.
This is not for her, right?
Not for her is one of them, yes, and then all that glitters is the second one.
Yeah.
I do color code. Oh, you mean in my outline? Sir, no.
I could never color code an outline.
I lose highlighters to it quickly.
No, okay. The reason I can't color code in an outline, it's not a bad idea. And like it would work. Except I'm migraine prone. And most color coding in Word documents is very blinding. I can do it for revisions and stuff because it's like on a small scale, and normally my goal is to get rid of it. But to like for it to always be that will fuck my eyes up so bad.
I color coded an outline by perspective, and then I couldn't look at it anymore. I was like, I hate this so much.
So instead, I'm just gonna be like, no. The other problem is it's like chapter 1, like I have my epilogue and then chapter 1, and then I have no other chapters labeled out because that's like the end of my process. Because like, you know, I get everything detailed, and then as I'm going through the final detail of an outline, I'm like, okay, and then this would be a good part for the chapter to end, and here's the good part for the next one. That way I can make sure that my chapters are flowing right. But like the way Fox processes story flow in an outline is the opposite. He starts with the chapters. So it's always fun. It's fun.
God, I have songs. My school's doing a musical, and I get to have the honor of being in 2 of them. And we're learning the songs, and one of the songs is so catchy. It was written by one of my friends that goes to school, and it's just playing on repeat in my head. It's a lot.
For whatever reason, I had a Straight Up by Paula Abdul stuck in my head today.
All the songs stuck in heads.
On repeat.
I am probably going to have I can't remember the name of the song, but I know how it goes, and in my mind it's now Lita's song, and it's like inspired a sequel short story to Not For Her. So now when I edit Not For Her, that's what plays in my head, because I'm like, it works for Jamie and Lita. But
one of my roommates came running into the house today, ran into his room and started playing Malibu number 5? Something
Mambo number 5.
Mambo number 5. There we go.
Look, y'all know Eric from All That Glitters?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was originally a roleplay character, and he is a flirty little motherfucker. So I actually still have it written out. It's called Eric's number 5, and I replaced all the names with just names of the female RP characters from the roleplay.
Nice.
And that's the kind of shit I did as a role player. I was like, okay, Eric's Mumble 5. Got 2K into it. Will probably be 4 or 5K in the end. Nice. Got stuck with the nitty-gritty of how the magic wards on the house work. That's fair. I don't know what I'll work on today. Also fair.
You and me both.
My Lovecraftian LARP in the AD short story has a lot of notes I need to go over. Listen, I feel that in my soul. I color code my edits.
As well.
Yeah, I color code edits. I just not my outline. Look, I have special highlighters. Let me see if I can find one. My children kind of stole them for their homework, little butts, so I gotta get them back. But they're erasable highlighters.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Hello.
that makes my head hurt for some reason.
Lexi. What does erasable highlighters?
Yeah, erasable
Here.
pens are like right on the edge. Like that's magic.
Erasable pens are a
highlighting,
little
I'm having
scary,
trouble
for
comprehending
sure.
that.
Look, I need erasable shit. Otherwise, there's just gonna be scratch marks everywhere. I have terrible handwriting, and that's just how it is. Wait, no, I didn't want to add an option.
Sam, we haven't introduced ourselves.
Don't worry.
They
I
know
was
us.
about to do that.
I wasn't worried.
Why are you
I
mad
wasn't
at me,
worried.
Fox? Sorry.
I didn't want Pat the Fox to be mad. I re-dyed my hair. Ta-da! It's very
Yo,
red again.
All right, well, introduce thyselves now.
Shit.
Oh no,
Fox
I don't
is
know my
mad at
left
me.
from my right anymore because everything looks different.
Matt, just slowly go
Damn it.
up straight. I'm the window. CV's the
Damn
not
it.
window.
Yeah, well, it took me so long to learn who was the bed, and now I need to learn who's the window.
It's okay. I will remember because y'all are not on the side of this.
Wait, can I reach down? Sorry.
Are
Oh, you
Just look
me.
over to CB. Just
yourself, or are you still?
Right.
CV's gonna have to be careful. She's gonna be like, Sam, thwap.
Bam. Yeah, it's really close. I've done that during a class already. I did not get in trouble for cursing. Yay, theater classes. She's like, good job expressing yourself. I'm like, thank you. It was on purpose. All right. Should I go first?
I mean, yeah, you're above me.
Sure. I remember my intro. I've live streamed not recently. Okay, I can't see my own
Make a
expressions.
checklist in your Mila note.
I don't have a Milo note, Sam.
Make a Mila note.
I got a Milo note right up here.
I have a note, and it is mine. I'm disappointed in me too, don't worry. All right, hello. I'm C.B. Ferrenz, young adult fantasy author, YouTuber, teenager, college student, and on my channel I talk about how those things come together, or rather don't. I do live streams, give semi-reliable writing advice, make funny little skits. I'm on hiatus. I don't actually do anything right now. But I'll be back soon. Also, I might be making a TikTok for me, for CB Friends, about writing things, which is something I started about 2 hours ago. So obviously it's a well thought out idea. That is me. Matt.
And I'm Matt Hollon, and I'm by a window now. I am a fantasy writer working on my debut dark fantasy adventure novel. I also have a pirate short story that will be coming out this spring. Be sure to follow me on Instagram because I'm going to be posting all about that in March, doing some Instagram challenges, doing cool stuff like that. And yeah, I also have a Twitter that you should follow me on. I think that's everything.
My brain just went like Twitter tweet, but instead I went caw.
Yo, I wish that was the name of the app so bad.
Follow his caw.
Oh my caw.
Oh, 1 second, I have to send out a caw.
You have to exclaim it too.
Oh my god, did you see my caw last night?
No matter what, it is italicized and has an exclamation mark.
Yeah, I'm taking a month off of caw. I just don't think social media helps these anymore.
It's just bad for me, you know. I can't
Yeah.
anymore, you know.
Yeah, just the toxicity on caw is just not where it's at.
It's just
Do you
this
see the
for
thing
an
I
hour.
read? Caw.
It's just gonna be these two doing this for an hour now.
Let's talk bird call.
We could.
Look, what y'all don't know, I think, is I have two things. He says, "Can we all team up to produce a Twitter competitor named Kaka now?" Yes. So I have there's two things that me and my friend in high school used to say especially or whenever Spirit Tracks came out. When did Spirit Tracks came out? Checking real quick. No, give me a year, damn it. 2009. Okay, so right after I got out of high school, right? And so he really liked birds. And so he would be like, caw motherfucker! And I'd be like, choo-choo, motherfucker! And that was just our thing. Because Zelda Spirit Tracks you.
At someone before.
Yeah, caw mother.
It's
but
cathartic.
Spirit Tracks, you save the world with driving a train.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo, motherfucker. So, hello, I am Writing Mom Samantha on Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer-parent things. On Mondays, I host live streams like these.
Yeah, you changed it!
I'm only still
like
doing the hand
one.
things to suck the C.B right now. I host live streams like these where we're productive and we do writing things. And sometimes we talk about writer things. Sometimes we talk about changing Twitter's entire brand. And, you know, next week we're talking about Sailor Moon Season 4. So we'll have that to look forward to.
I tried.
But when I make content, it will be posted on Thursdays. I actually have a special collab coming up sometime in March. When in March, we don't know yet, but it will definitely be in March. You can read a sample of my writing by going to my website, samanthaalnasset.com. You can read my spooky flash fiction while you're there so that you know that I have an inkling of what the fuck I'm talking about when I talk about writing advice. I also am preparing 2 more short stories to go on my website at an undisclosed time, but they're going there. These 2 have both read both of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. And if you'd like to keep up to date with all things Sam, I forgot where I was in my checklist for a moment, you can sign up to my newsletter at samanthaalnasset.com, the website that I previously mentioned. You can stay up to date with all things that I'm doing, how my home life is, and a lot of times WWW things, because we're not starting a newsletter just for that. And if you would like to help support the channel, you can like the stream, subscribe to the channel, ring-a-ding that bell. And if you would like to help get our cool background and our corner fox back, you can tip at the Coffee Ko-Fi down below.
Get that money!
No! Don't freeze right now! Don't freeze right now! Give Sam money!
Too late!
And so I see everybody has noticed the poll already. I recently was reminded this is a feature that exists and I should use more. So we're doing a poll right there on how long everybody would like our opening sprint to be. So go ahead. I'll leave that up for 2 more minutes. Why you do this? Why you be all over the place? Sir, because I was on my feet doing errands and houseworks from 2 to 6:30. And then I had to hop into here. I'm physically exhausted. My brain fog has kicked in. And, you know, you're lucky I can form a coherent sentence.
I can never form a coherent sentence. I didn't mean to do that. And then I leaned into it. I'm doing great.
All right. And now we're devoting our attention to chat.
We forgot about Matt, didn't we? No, Matt did it.
I did an intro.
I'm last.
I had to go to class today, okay?
Just figured out a new title for my book since the old ones were taken, and I forgot to see if someone used it. Well, that's fair. Jess, you always give me the best welcome. Yeah, I love enthusiastic welcomes. I said this in chat already, but I'm sorry. The Wallace curse has followed you. Wouldn't the bed person be the same as the window person?
It's entirely different. This looks nothing like a bed.
I think just means that we're on the same side of
They are on the same side. But another thing to consider is that a scary face could appear in the window. And a scary face could not appear in the bed.
Matt,
so I don't want to look at the window.
Matt,
I have no problem looking at a bed.
Why don't you close the curtain?
I kind of like the moonlight.
The aesthetic?
The
Okay.
aesthetic.
It's
a little scary.
Like, this is why Matt will probably die early in the
I have
forest.
a
Yeah, this is why I'm
giant
definitely
window
going to get
that
murdered.
this, but it's a forest back there, and there's only one guy that randomly goes on walks around.
Hey, I said
6:35.
chat time. Like,
Sorry.
it isn't core chat. The Wallace curse. Okay, so Wallissimo has a very bad habit of YouTube just not letting her vote in polls. But whenever it does let her vote in a poll, somebody else cannot vote in the poll. So it's the Wallace curse now. Yeah, it's always been, well, it hasn't always been there, but it's been there for a while, and I just forgot I could do it.
Let's just pretend it's new.
Oh no. Something about your name just makes me aw, love that. Oh, yep. Maybe not. Did you see my caca last night? Maybe not.
I didn't get it until it popped up on screen. I was trying to figure it out on the side. Thanks.
I could either edit a video, write a short story for my website, or work on my novel, and I don't really want to do any of them right now. Now we got to go back and look at the timestamps. See
No,
who...
I said it before.
Oh, okay. Woo! Congrats. No scary faces, please. Just watch like that. The scary face could appear in your bed if they came through the window.
It would probably be scarier if a face appeared in your bed than
Yeah.
on the other side of your window.
Match just in his old spot, and then a face appears in the bed.
Oh, there's a cat. Oop, on my side. Here. Hello, cat.
Well, I mean, there was definitely an element of me fucking with people today, Fox, especially when I reversed my fingers.
I love when it's me and CB on and you do your intro because we're pretty much just like two lions at a zoo that are just waiting to get fed.
I know.
Yeah.
It always
We're just
fucked me
waiting
up
for
a little bit
the
though,
coffee
because
to
I'm like,
pie.
I feel the mounting tension, and I'm
You
just
can just
trying
see
to
us
get
just
through it.
lean further and further forward.
Also, the iced coffee from Taco Bell is actually pretty good. Very strong. They were
Didn't
like,
the voice actor for Deku do something for Taco Bell? I keep seeing the audio on TikTok.
I don't
Did
know,
he?
maybe.
So head down to your close a little bit. Anyways.
Two lions at a zoo.
I
Yes,
hope it's just like canon that Deku did a Taco Bell commercial.
I need
That's
it.
what the fandom has done with it. Someone
What?
played the commercial and then did they like mimicked like Bakugo's voice, like they did an impression. I forgot what that was, and then had like reaction. There's Todoroki. It was pretty good, and now it's trending on My Hero TikTok, which is a thing that I am a part of.
So Fox says that you two should make your own podcast called Two Lions in a Zoo. You can continue with what you were talking about. I'm getting a timer ready.
That's cool.
They're like, no, we've been. Somebody said they enjoy us interacting.
Yeah, no, never mind. I can't talk to CB right now.
No. I've never talked to my entire life.
Maybe
See,
later.
It would be great because the topics could just like be somebody, puts in a random topic through like Instagram or something, and then that's just the topic of the podcast.
Yeah.
And like it would actually start as that topic, but by the end of the podcast, it would be nothing.
Nothing to do with it.
We hire someone just to do like the little blurbs to like summarize it, just to like see them try. It's like, okay, so we started talking about like cabbages, but somehow we planned an assassination. Enjoy.
It's like they started talking about cabbages, and then they talked about revenge plot lines because of the cabbage man.
Oh my
The
god!
Cabbage Man from Avatar.
See, it would work. No, what's your favorite cereal?
Honey Bunches
That will
of
be
Oats with
answered
almond.
when we come back.
Anything available.
I said when we come back.
Why?
We have to go on break. Well, not break, but I have work to do, and I can't find the right banner.
No.
There we go. Okay. Count us down.
3, 2, 1.
And we're back. How did everybody do that sprint, as well as what's everybody working on? And you may notice CB had to leave. So, 'tis just you and I, Matt.
'Tis just us.
Yes.
Yeah, I just one of those sprints where like I do a bunch of like small like, bookkeeping type stuff. No like actual like writing type things.
Oh, yeah. I call it my secretary work.
Yep.
Well, my secretary or my platform work, depending on what I'm doing. But yeah. I'm working on Not For Her, and I got one. I changed up a little bit of dialogue, so it feels like it didn't feel not Jamie, but it feels more Jamie now. And then I read through a third of a page, and then I got to a part that's highlighted in purple. And I color code my edits, and purple, at least for this short story, because it changes every time. Purple is expand here. It's my least favorite part of edits because I whine about it. I'm always like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to add things. You don't need to know all this extra thing. But then I actually do it, and it takes all of like a minute.
Yeah.
So I spent a bit of time pouting, and then I did that. So did you get your secretary work done?
I got everything done except one thing, but I'm gonna just do that tomorrow because it's gonna require a lot of work.
I'm hoping to finish because my goal is to do at least a page every day of the short story amongst all of the housework and everything that I have to get done. I
Yeah.
have so much housework and it can't wait. It needs to get done, but I can at least do a page of revisions a day in between doing all of that. So once I do that, I'm actually going to go double check a collab script and make sure that it has final approval. So, yeah. So 200 words of edits is good.
Nice.
Realized if I want to do daily host promo, I need to start them. Oh, yeah. Well, gotta get that done. Oh, I should, Jess, next sprint, remind me I need to go look at those things, and I will prioritize that. I was going to, and then I was messaging CB about why she had to leave, so I got distracted. Got some dinner, started yet another round of editing. Yay, rounds of editing! See, I'm at the stage where I imagine most people get to when they're all like, "Man, I'm so tired of reading my story, but I'm still enjoying reading the story. It's just working."
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to revise anything, but then I'm reading through it and I'm like, no, this could be better.
I had to
So.
read my short story recently because I was doing some proofreading,
Mhm.
and I was like, "This is nice." I haven't read this in probably a few months, and it's fresh again. Like, it felt good to read that story and not be filled with just dread.
Dread.
Yeah.
Dread and anger and which also, if anybody knows any short story editors, I'm looking. Specifically developmental, but I'll take any. Yeah, I've only gotten info from like 5 of the 24 people, so that's not happening. Well, we can do double promo, like do one in the morning and then one in the evening if we need to. Just like in the morning, be like, this is productivity host 1, in the evening, social host 1, not 2. I'm not allowed in charge of numbers right now. Don't.
You know how, like, if you have, like, a lot of coffee and then you go a little bit without having that coffee, you then crash? I'm having that with pasta right now. In that right before we started, I ate an absurd amount of pasta, and
It's probably because
now
it's very carb heavy, so it's the
yeah, no,
digest.
it makes sense, but that's where I'm at. I had a pasta baby at the
See,
start.
I don't like have that with coffee because as with many neuroatypical people, caffeine doesn't actually make me hyper or keep me awake or anything. All it does is wake up the neurons in my brain that aren't normally firing at full cylinder.
Hmm.
So I just function like a neurotypical person. But also, I've been drinking coffee this whole time, and it hasn't helped. So
Yeah. For me, it's weird. Like different kinds of coffee
oh
will
yeah, that
like
can definitely.
cause completely different caffeine reactions to me. Like cold brew is like
I
the
mean, that
only
makes a lot of
coffee that gives me
sense.
like the desired caffeine effects.
I'm I'll be honest, if I drink cold brew, I'm just like, "This is some nice flavored water."
I love cold
But,
brew.
like, not in an insulting way because I just refer to most of if it doesn't come in a 2-liter, probably refer to it as flavored water. So I'm like, I can make most of it by just adding something to a cup of water, and there's
Yeah.
my drink, so short stories are hard to write, weirdly enough, I prefer to write full-length novels. That's actually not weird, it's super common. I did both a Let's Talk, which I'll probably do another one, and I've done a video on short stories because I never realized because I do both. I do short form fiction and long form fiction. I never realized that, like, it did take 2 different skill sets until a couple of years ago, and
Yeah.
mostly because I was talking to some friends who are like, "Oh, well, I could never do a short story," and I'm like, "For why? It's a shorter novel. What?" And then, like, we were talking about it, and as I was talking to them about it, I conceptualized a lot of things out loud, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, this is, like, 2 different skill sets."
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the skills overlap, but yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. So it's not weird that you prefer full-length novels. It's actually pretty common in the community from what I see. Yes, pasta's so good. We just bought a bunch of, like, different pasta noodles, and then
Yeah.
we bought some, like, cheese sauce packets and some, like, tomato things, and my oldest son, he's all like, "So, what about the meats?" And I'm like, "What do you mean the meats?" And he's like, "Can we have chicken with the shells and cheese?" And I'm like, "Ah, yes, I see, you want custom pasta now." Like, "I see you're putting in orders. Okay, this
Yeah.
works." Hi, well, you're welcome. However long you do or don't stay, I forgot to put our
Break
break
timer?
timer. Putting that on now. Yes. I don't think it's been too long. Hold on, let me check my DMs. Yeah, we're good. We've been
Eh,
talking for less than 10 minutes. Based on when Fox said, "Oh no, CB." I too like custom pasta. Yeah, I'm totally
Yo.
not knocking it, especially since, like, oh my gosh, feeding 3 children daily, such a struggle. Because you're like, one day child A is all like, "Hey, I want spaghetti." And you're like, "Oh yeah, we'll have spaghetti tomorrow." And then they're all happy. And the next day you're like, "Oh yeah." Like child B is like, "What are we having for dinner?" And you're like, "Spaghetti." And child like A and C are like, "Yeah." But then child B is like, "I hate spaghetti." And I'm like, "Since when? You had
Yeah.
3 bowls last time." So now but then it's like, "What do you want for dinner?" And they're like, "I don't know. There's so many options." And you're like, "Okay, but what about this for dinner?" And they're like, "Yes." But 2 hours later you make it. And they're like, "Oh man, I don't want that for dinner."
Man,
And you're
this
like, "You're lucky that I love you so dearly." I am an evil parent though. I'm always like, "Eat it or make it yourself."
yeah.
That's all it is. So oh, my, like, middle child is very, particular about his food, so some days he just looks at dinner and he'll be like, thank you for making dinner, and then make himself a pizza roll, which I'm like, at least he thanked me.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm good with it.
He goes, I appreciate the effort involved. However, I will be dining on pizza rolls.
However, this is not to my palate at this particular moment. Thank you, though. I want pasta now. Everybody have pasta. I've had a long week, so I'm half asleep right now. It's fair. It's Monday, so
I was about to say, I'm like,
my mom just said, "Eat it or you don't eat." Yeah, I'm not here for that. Like, that was never how my parents treated me, and I really that doesn't foster a healthy relationship with food
mhm.
because people just have different preferences. And I know I was kind of making fun of their food taste changing, but there is a thing where your taste buds do change.
Yeah.
And everything. So they may legitimately just not like spaghetti that week. I'm not going to force them to eat it. I'm going to question it because they're not always 100% honest about things, but I would rather they have a healthy relationship with food and that they eat. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm not making 2 dinners, but if they want to make their own food, I ain't stopping them. I'll just eat dinner. That's my brother described perfectly. He's also a bottomless pit when it comes to food. That used to be me. I used to eat all of my food and then my sister's leftovers and then my mother and my grandmother's leftovers when we went out to lunch. It was great. I loved it. I got to try so much food.
I'm still filling that role, but like I know my time is running out to be able to just eat all of the food in the world.
I had to stop filling that role. I still can. It just depends on where my migraines are.
Yeah.
Because migraines make me nauseous. And I hate it because sometimes I will be hungry, but I will be so nauseous. And I'm like, what personal hell was crafted for me here? I'm sure my parents can relate. They always say 3 teenagers are hard to feed because we eat more. See, it's not the quantity. That I wouldn't have I grew up in a large family. I actually, when Chris and I first got married, I had to learn to cook for 2 people because I always made way too much. So that part, that's not the struggle for me. It's finding something that all 5 of us are going to eat because people have preferences and moods. Like, that's the other thing. Why am I gonna get mad at a kid when I know for 100% fact I've sat in here like, what do I want for dinner? I don't feel like mac and cheese today. Tacos? Nah, I don't want tacos. So
Right, like deciding what to eat is so hard.
my point still
That's
said
fair,
last week
honestly.
was so long. See, that's how I took it at first, was just that last week was so long that Monday already feels like too much. We didn't have to eat what was made, but no one was making a second dinner. We could make see, that's how my family was. My family was like, we're only making one dinner, but like if you don't want or like that dinner, go make your own food.
Yeah, my family was pretty much the same way. The one like sort of exception is like if like say someone didn't like one ingredient. Like growing up, I didn't like cheese at all. If we're having something with cheese for dinner, my mom would just make like a small portion
Yeah.
without any cheese in it, and then
Well,
I'd eat that.
that's a little different. You're not making like an entirely
Right.
second dinner. You're
Yeah.
just making
Omitting an ingredient from
Yeah.
one aspect of it.
I would do that, and my mom would do that. My dad would be like, it's just in your head and try to trick me into eating things with mustard, and then I would throw up because I'm like, Father, the taste of mustard makes me vomit. It's not psychological, it's physical. But still, he would be like, oh, Sam, taste this. It's so good. And I'd be like, oh, that looks tasty. Oh, God, why would you do this to me? And he's like, it's just psychosomatic. And I'm like,
No,
I think I've proven it's not.
my parents tried that once with me with cheese. It was just this huge Subway sandwich, which like I've always gotten just so much on my Subway sandwich,
That
and
you
there was
didn't
just a
even
little bit
notice
of
the
cheese, and I'm just like, "There's cheese on this."
Like,
I'm like, "Okay, yeah, no,
no.
you legitimately really don't like cheese." I'm like, "I know."
That's what I've been telling you.
I like cheese now though. I grew to enjoy it.
Well, because taste buds change and
Right.
evolve over time.
And
That's
like I mean,
also like there's sometimes where we think of the food that we liked when we were kids and then we
Mhm.
eat it as adults and we're like, "Oh man, this is not that good." It's cuz like your taste buds are not the same.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
So,
I even only started liking eggs, like, in the last, like, 8 months. Before that, I was always just like, "I don't really like eggs," and now I'm like, I eat eggs multiple times a week.
it's because you're now connected to like my bloodline thing and
Yeah.
do you know about the Eggageddon, Eggathon? I forgot what I
No.
called it. Okay, so my middle child, again, he wants to become a chef. His
Mhm.
words were so that me and his dad don't have to cook so much. He'll just take over the cooking, which I'm like, you know what? Go for it. I'm here for it. But like one day I was just really in the mood for egg sandwich. So I made
Mhm.
an egg sandwich and then I sat down and I was eating it. And my middle child comes in and he's like, "Mom, what are you eating?" And I'm like, "An egg sandwich." And he's like, "Can I make an egg sandwich?" And I'm like, "Yes, but we're not making you the same kind I made because uh e- e- eggs with runny yolk, little
Mhm.
advanced for you. You're 8."
Yeah.
So I taught him how to make scrambled eggs with toast. But like we had hot dog buns. So I was like, "Do you
Mhm.
want an egg sub? Because that might be better because we don't have a toaster." And I didn't want to teach him how to make toast on a frying pan.
Right.
It's very tricky. And so he was like, "Okay." And so he made an egg sub, but like my youngest and my oldest were like, "What is that?" And he's like, "I'll make egg subs for everybody." And so he did. And for 2 weeks straight, he would come home from school and I apologize for a little bit shaking. Chris is on the other end of the bed, and every time he laughs, the whole bed moves.
Oh.
But I can't, and I don't want to tell him, "Hey, stop having fun over there."
Yeah.
Just that's that's just rude. But yeah. So yeah, for 2 weeks straight, he would come home from school, put all his stuff away, get comfy in his after school clothes, and then he would be like, "Mom, I'm hungry. Can I make egg subs?" And I'm like, "Yes." I think I called it the eggathon because it was
Yeah.
just not every day he made egg subs, and like my oldest was loving it. He
Mhm.
was like, he got an egg sub every day. My youngest though, she was all like, some days she'd take the sub, some days she's like, "No, I'm gonna make ramen." And I'm like, whatever. So that was that. And see, so you like sensed that shift
Yeah,
and
I
now you
sensed it
like
and was like, "I
eggs.
need eggs in my life."
I hate eggs unless they're in brownies. So does this mean not in cakes too? No judgment, just curious. Brownies are great. I had some yesterday and that was the best part of the week. I need to make some brownies, which apparently cuz my husband would say, he'd be like, "Man, I hate brownies and everything." And I'm like, "Okay." Well, I would make them for me cuz I love brownies.
Mhm.
But like I hate the brownies that have the like thick crust on the top. I'm like, "No. I want them to be gooey and soft and that's it. No like thick crust on top." So that's how I make them. And my husband would just eat all my brownies. Like I'd get 2 and then they'd disappear and I'm like, "Sir, I thought
The
you hated
rude.
brownies." Like if you hate the brownies, leave them for me. What are you doing? And then he's like, "Well, I don't hate your brownies." And I'm like, "Can't be mad, but also my brownies." We recently discussed this and apparently he's come to the realization that he's just like me. He doesn't like the crunchy top brownie top that a lot of like store-bought brownies and stuff
Yeah.
have. But he likes the bottom part. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then I now understand because before I just get mad. I'm like, "You don't even like them.
You don't even
Stop
like
eating
them.
them."
For why?
For, for why? For what? Oh, StreamYard just okay. So chat has been talking. StreamYard just didn't want me to know. Oh, we got that one. I'm going to start reading Eve the Awakening soon. Nice. I love that book. It has been discontinued though, so keep that in mind for anybody who wants to look for it. I finished the last page of this chapter and the last like 20 pages of this other book. Man, I love ramen, but my mom never let us have it. I mean, I think the instant ramen from the store doesn't have much nutrition. It's basically empty carbs.
Yeah, it's
So
like carbs and sodium.
so
But
I
it's
can understand,
delicious.
but also my children are children. They're fine on empty carbs.
What you mean?
Eggs are fine. I had them for breakfast so much that I now couldn't care less for them. I love them. All right, so it is. Like I wasn't sure because that could very well be a thing. As part of a recipe in general, when they're I feel this way about mustard in general because like mustard goes in baked beans, and I love me some baked beans. As long as I don't taste the mustard individually, I'm good.
Yeah.
However, there has been a mind-blowing exception. We went to this German restaurant when I was working a convention, and they had these sauerkraut balls. I don't usually like sauerkraut, and I
Mhm.
definitely hate mustard, but mustard's huge in German cuisine, at least
Right.
in my experience. And so the sauerkraut balls had a very distinctive mustard taste, but it was delicious. And I was
Oh.
like, I don't know what witchcraft you performed in the kitchen, but I've eaten 3 of these now, and I'm good. And then I
Yeah.
was like, we were talking about it at the table, and somebody was like, their mustard just tastes a little different. And my boss is like, they probably made it here. And I'm like, is that the secret?
Homemade mustard.
I just need homemade German specific mustard. So maybe.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like I will not put mustard on a sandwich or anything,
Yes.
but
Homemade brownie's better.
I cook like anything, and there's gonna be mustard in it. It just won't go like on. I won't use it as a condiment, you know.
Yeah. I know you didn't mean it, but my brain immediately went, we're not putting mustard in brownies, Matt. It's not happening.
It's worth a try.
No, well, I do believe everything is worth a try, but I'm not going to be happy about it.
Ooh, like I don't think there's a way that could possibly work.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But you know what? That mustard on watermelon thing went around, and a lot of people enjoyed it. I was like, nope. It's no reason for me to subject myself to that. Mustard brownies. Maybe if I get that magical witchcraft mustard from the place we went to eat.
You go through all the effort of making homemade mustard just to put it in brownie batter.
If it was good, I'd do it. Oh shit, I forgot to do a poll to see. Hold on. Sprint length. That's what we're going with. Hush you, phone. Entertain the peoples.
Oh.
Tell them that you're going to be part of the dubba dubba dubba.
I will be part of the dubba dubba dubba, which is a lot easier to say than worldwide Writeathon.
It is my secret goal for that to become unanimously used to describe it.
Yeah, on the dubba dubba dubba, I will be both on your channel for a social stream, and I will be on CB's channel for a productivity stream. So
in the reverse order.
Yeah, in the opposite order of the way I said them is how it will happen. And so
I believe CB's is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which would be 6 my time. And then my stream is 11 Eastern time.
So yeah, come along to the dubba 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 and see me and everyone else that was here.
But vanilla and mustard
is very different than mustard.
Cannot be compared. We're gonna take a minute or so that I put a poll up to vote on the length of our next sprint. It better not fucking end in a tie. I refuse. Williamson's Weekend Worldwide Writeathon. Oh, sorry. Williamson's Weekend Worldwide Writing Writeathon.
Oh, no.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Too many
6.
W's.
We're just calling it the 6th dubba at that point.
Look, I'm content to just call it the dub. the dub.
Like I will confess that I enjoy the game The Legend of Mana, and in it there's a race of dud bears, and their language is just a series of dubs and duds and like dubba dubba dud. And I learned all of the words to this language when I first played it, so that like in subsequent playthroughs I would just go to the dud bears and I would just know what they were saying. I didn't need like to write it down or anything.
Yeah.
So at some point I was like www the dubba dubba dub.
The dubba dubba dub.
That's just what
Yeah.
stuck with me.
That's where we'll be.
But while I give it a minute for those who wish to vote on the poll to vote on the poll, which now looks like somebody's flicking me off. I have to screenshot the poll shape.
Oh.
But yeah, Jessica Williamson and I run a writing community weekend 3 times a year in March, June, and October. And the March and June ones are on Saturday and Sunday, and then October's is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it's basically just, at the moment, the first 2 are 24 streams. It's 2 tracks. Each one has 12 writing streams. The current format we're testing is one is going to be productivity streams, so there will be long streams of writing sprints or a bunch of small writing sprints, however each host wants to do it. But those ones are going to be more like focused on getting your writing done and everything. It's just a huge writerly community event so that everybody can like write together in focus and hype each other up. It's great. And then the social one will be very similar to my streams, where we do some productivity, but like the main goal is so that I can have human interaction outside my 3 children and husband. Which I love him, but I'm an outgoing extrovert and he's a social introvert. So while he enjoys socializing, he can't even socialize with me as long as I need. There are like days when he's just like, "Can you go play with other people now? Where is Fox? Why aren't you talking to him?"
Go to Fox.
And then I'll DM Fox and I'm like, "Chris has banished me to you." And Fox is like, "Oh no." Hold on, I must share the finger. That was a well-timed damn. I don't know if anybody else heard it.
Oh, I'm looking at the poll now. Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay, you see the poll. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
The
so we're going to
poll
go
is
ahead.
Angry.
It is. All right, the poll's been up for 4 minutes. I'm going to end it at 5. Though I think probably there's 7 votes and 7 people watching. So probably everybody's voted.
A lot of people come in just to vote.
12 people come and vote, they leave. All right. Sorry, I heard a door open and I was like, what's going on over there?
I have the
Clicked
song
the
I
wrong
was listening
button
to
to
during
end the poll.
the sprint stuck in my head. It's a new song I discovered and I've been listening to it like crazy. It's Bring Me the Horizon and Baby Metal did a song together, which I don't know if you're familiar with either.
Who were they again? I was looking for
Bring Me the Horizon and Baby Metal.
Yes, I know both of them.
Yeah, they did a collab, and I'm just like, this is a really cool
I'm
mix.
intrigued.
Yeah.
There was, and I forgot who he was, but he was basically a really popular 80s rocker.
Mm-hmm.
And he like stood for a photo with Baby Metal. And somebody basically insulted him and was like, they're not real rock or something like that. And he defended them. He's all like, man, they go harder than. And I was like, I appreciate this because they do go hard.
Gosh, that's good. I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember who it was.
Matt and I spent the 20-minute sprint, so we were looking for
I
that
think it
guy.
might have been like
It was
Oh,
Rob Zombie.
Thank you, chat.
Yes, of course it was Rob Zombie. I love
I
him.
only recently started listening to Rob Zombie's music and
It's so good though.
Dracula. Like I listened
That's
to it
my
for the first time
favorite
like
one.
this year, and I'm like, that song's so good.
Rob Zombie also did a song for Daredevil, "The Man Without Fear," and it's like every time I bring that up, because most people, when I talk about Daredevil, they know of the new series, but they either they've never seen the Ben Affleck one, or they just like pretend that it doesn't exist. And I'm like, but it's soundtrack.
But the soundtrack, though.
Also, that Wilson Fisk was amazing. It's not really anything like the comic book one, but I don't care. All right, are we ready?
Funny timer.
Count us down.
All right.
I'm
3,
confused. Hold
2.
on. Do you see what I wrote here?
I do. Dog. That's not a dog.
I clicked on. Hold on. I don't care. We're staying here, but
Also,
this I
surprising
don't.
end. What's gonna happen
Is there a dog?
at the end?
All right. Are we ready?
All right. Anyway, we were at 2. 1. Go.
Did anybody else hear that?
Here?
Okay, no. Hold on. Then I can only play it if I move my headphone away. Do you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you find it cute because I want to
Anything
cook
with
rabbit
bunny, I
now.
will find cute.
Fair, I guess, but also
Froze for a little bit there. What? I don't know
Yeah.
if it was you or me.
I think it was you,
Ah.
but I could be wrong.
But yeah, anything with a bunny, I will instantly find adorable.
Fox was like, that shirt was horrifying of the rabbit, though I expected a bark. So how did everybody do that sprint? I realized I forgot to change the banners, but me nodding that I can hear it. Like, okay, so I made sure that I was muted and that the stream sharing thing was muted, but I hadn't made sure the actual video was muted. So I came here, I'm like, okay, we've got less than 10 seconds. Do. And then I just hear it and I'm like, because I cannot stand the
Where
sound
is the bunny?
of chewing. Like when me and my sister were stuck in the truck together driving back from the convention and she was eating, we had to turn the audiobook up extra loud because, and it's not my sister's fault. It's literally her mouth was shut. I don't even genuinely think she was chewing loudly. I could just hear it. I'm like, it's a superpower that I don't want
Right.
because it makes me want to punch people. But yes. So I didn't actually get any revising done because I was looking over graphics and coming up with the new little host thingy for the IG promo because I was like, "Fox, can I get away with just using my old one?" And he's like, "No, you're helping run it. Keep it fresh." And I'm like,
I guess.
good example. But I came up with 2 different ones.
Ooh.
So maybe I have one for June.
I
heard
got a
my
drink
kitten.
and read 2 pages. I'm doing the old read and tag, so not quite editing, but like
Yeah, 'cause
kind of editing.
Are you proofing?
No,
You're
I've done that. I'm working on the first draft of my novel,
Oh, okay.
doing the read through of that, which is going very slowly because I keep having to drop it to go work on short story stuff.
I understand wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Part of the reason my revisions are going slowly, or as slow as they're going was because, CB will ask me to critique a short story or something for college application transfer applications, and I'm like, "Well, that's got a much stiffer time
Right.
deadline." And then, Jenna wanted me to look over her chapters for Shuat, the nonfiction book, and I'm like, "Well, that won't take long," and so I do that, and it doesn't. It just takes
Mhm.
maybe 2 hours tops. So, but then I'm like, my brain's like, "Well, you've performed your creative activity for the day." Brain fog, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Fuck you."
No.
Kitty's running though. I would prefer to hear that. Had to do unexpected research.
That can be the best or the worst when it happens, where you're just all of a sudden, I don't know why you had to do unexpected research, but like you're writing a scene and then you're just like, I need to learn some things before I write this scene because I don't know them.
Jess and I did writing sprints on the Dubba 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 channel Saturday, and I was revising not for her, and I had to I had to make sure that I properly understood how to break into and hotwire a car, which I did.
I was gonna say I love that it's like a double check. Like it's definitely a skill you have. You're just a little rusty.
Look, things. So I had cereal into yep. We're talking about those graphics and whatnot. I'm fighting the last of this villain scene, and it should be the last edit of my second draft. Yes.
Nice.
So, short stories, one of the fun things about them is the climax doesn't always have to be like a fight and stuff.
Hmm.
And also, depending on the purpose of the short story, sometimes the story goes like so well that people really just enjoy it. And then you're going through it on one of your personal revisions, and you're like, I don't have a climax in this story.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like short stories give you a little more freedom with structure.
Yeah. To be fair, I went back and I added a climax, and then
Mhm.
like other people who read it, they were like, "Oh yeah, this feels much more like final."
Yeah.
Or at least they can see why it ended where it ended there. So you still need like
Right.
the structure is flexible,
Hmm.
but you still need a
You
couple
you
of
still need a
details,
structure because
So,
story.
but it's just entertaining to me sometimes
Mhm.
when you like are missing a very key structural component, but people still enjoy it. So it's like,
Yeah.
well, that happened. I just remembered that because this is that story. I forgot to put in a climax for this story, but it's there. It's there now.
Yeah.
So yes, break timer is on. So has anybody been reading anything interesting?
Ooh, I haven't started reading it yet, but I just ordered a novel, which like I'm not I'm trying to get better about reading, but I'm still not much of a reader. But I ordered I think it's got a long title. It's The Demon, the Hero, and the City of Seven by A.E. Kincaid, I think is how you pronounce her last name. But I've read a little bit of a adjacent story to it, and it's really good. So I'm hoping I enjoy the novel a lot as well.
I hope the novel is very enjoyable too. I thought you were going to say a completely different title at first. And I was like, my mom and CB both really like that thing, but it was a different. Don't ask me what the title is. I never remember the title. I just recognize it when I hear it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like a comedy fantasy, which is pretty cool.
Ooh. So it's not reading, but if y'all like comedy fantasy, the Vox Machina series on Amazon Prime.
I've heard good things about
So
that.
they season finale just came out, and it is the only series in existence that I'm like, just get through the first 2 episodes. If that's not your humor, the rest of the series is fine. Because I don't think they said this anywhere, so I don't know if it's confirmation or not, but rumors are that episodes 1 and 2 were pilot episodes that they
Mhm.
were sending to streaming companies to basically be like, "Hey, we would like to stream on on your platform."
Right.
So the humor there is more crude, and there's a lot more in episode 1 and 2 that doesn't carry over to the other 10
Yeah.
episodes. And I greatly, from like even the halfway through episode 2 onward, I got so much more excited and enjoyed the entire show. But if the entire show was like episode 1, I can't say that I would honestly recommend it to
Right.
anybody. But that's personal preference. I know quite a few people who still enjoyed them. But
Mhm.
and like excuse me as I wait for him to stop giggling. But I never ever recommend things and go just get past so many episodes because I hate that shit. I'm like, I
Yeah.
shouldn't need to. But I hold a special place for pilot episodes because I know how pilot episodes work.
Right.
And yeah. Like I said, there's no confirmation that that's actually the case, but it definitely
Mhm.
feels like the case if you watch the whole series.
Yeah.
And it makes sense with other behind the production things I know. People are reading. Jess, I misread what you said, and I thought it said I had talking cereal, and I was so questioning. I'm reading a nonfiction book, and it's interesting. It's got ways to torture characters mentally and ways science is trying to do immortal stuff and robots that humans control with their brain. A nonfiction book, you say?
Yeah.
It's a book about the brain, and yeah, thanks school for actually giving me something interesting for once. I'm intrigued by this. Well, at least the poll isn't flicking us off again.
Good to know.
Yes.
The poll is much more polite this time around.
Fox, don't send me that GIF. I made him watch all of Vox Machina with me.
Fox Machina?
Vox Machina.
I'm just saying. So I have officially started my journey as a DM for a D&D campaign.
Yes.
Let me tell you, that is a lot of work.
So much work.
But it is a lot of fun too, for sure.
I was the default DM for my friend group for a while until a couple others who... So I'm not a rules lawyer. I am very much the rule of cool over...
Yeah.
And in the book, when it says the rules are guidelines, the rules are guidelines. They're
right.
And so that's how I do it. But I have a couple friends who were a little more like into the rules, and so I was like, well, then you DM. And then they started, and then I'm like, I don't have to DM everything. So then we like rotated DMing.
Yeah.
But if we had new players come in, I was the default tutor because teaching things is a skill set. So
right. Well, and it's been really interesting. I basically have a co-DM because how this all got started was I had a lot of my coworkers had played before, and they asked me, they're like, "Have you played D&D before?" I was like, "I played like a few nights of D&D like a long time ago." And they're like, "Well, we want to do a game, and we want you to be the DM." And I'm like, "I don't know the rules of the game."
You're like, hold up, why me specifically?
They're like, "We think you'd come up with a really fun campaign." I'm like, "Okay, I will do the story part of this. I need someone to help me with all the rules." And so basically,
See, I like that.
Yeah, like it to where like I do a lot of the like story work, but like she built everyone's characters. She did all of that stuff for them. And I'm just there
I
to
need a
provide the narrative.
co-DM that handles all of that part.
Yeah, like it's been really helpful.
Like, do the rules lawyering for me.
And like we'll be in a combat, and like I'll be like playing an NPC, and I'll be like, "Can I do this?" She's like, "I don't know what you're trying to do. I don't know the story. I don't know how the combat's supposed to go."
Like you didn't like.
I'm like, "I think I can do this, but I don't know."
I want to watch the Vox Machina series, but I don't want spoilers before I finish watching all the videos. Do you mean before you finish watching campaign 1? Because currently the TV series just goes to the end of the Briarwood arc and the beginning of the Chroma Conclave, which I think is episode 30 something of the campaign. I won't be able to stay for the whole time because I'm really tired, but I can stay another 10 minutes or so. Well, our break timer is 2.5 minutes long, so we will see you probably in the comments if you rewatch again. DMing is hard, but so fun, especially when someone rolls a 1 or 20. Yes. I plan on doing it. I plan on starting to work on it again in June at the latest. It's my priority after the short stories and a little bit more work on my outline for hitting 500 subs. I know that was 150 something ago, guys, but it's okay. For hitting 500 subs, I wanted to run a White Wolf one shot, which I know they're not called White Wolf anymore, but I cannot remember their new name, so they're White Wolf to me forever. But it's basically a contemporary fantasy paranormal RP, which RP system. That's the word I wanted, which focuses more on the storytelling aspect of it and less on like the stats and the roles.
Yeah.
And I already know the general like plot line and everything, and it's going to be a group of characters who all wake up with amnesia, but they're going to have like some clues in their pockets and stuff,
Yes.
and they're going to have to go through this kind of dungeon-esque mansion to find clues to figure out why they're there, who they are. And the first time I did this, because I'm basically just reusing a plot line,
hmm
I planted a mole that my friend Scott played, and he found a note from his patron that basically said, "You're only here because like I had to prove my loyalty, but you'll be fine. You'll make it out." And he was in there with his brother, who was a detective who was like looking up all of the things, and is basically the reason that he was in there, because like they're trying to get rid of the brother, and because they're brothers, they're like, oh, well, obviously they're probably in it together. But he can prove his loyalty to us through this. And so by the end of the thing, they're like in a lotus eater kind of room.
hmm
So they have to do will saves to get out of there. So he was the first one to succeed, and he leaves and walks out the door. And everybody else is like, okay, cool. You can like turn around and try to help us get out. And he closes the door and disappears. And I was like, I knew I gave this character to the right person.
Oh, that's awesome.
Technically, I didn't actually. I just like told them all this. These are the characters' names and what they look like, and everybody kind of picked a character sheet based off that. But I was like, oh, it's so perfect. And my sister was playing his brother,
hmm
and so then my sister, like the characters, they all get out and everything. Like they help each other, and they get their memories back as you know they're
Yeah.
escaping and everything. And so I allowed them to keep their characters after the campaign, and my sister kept the character and added on the character sheet that it is now his goal to find his brother and get revenge. And I'm like, so good.
That's awesome.
So I want to do something like that for
Yeah.
my 500 subscribers. It's just planning a campaign setting
Yeah.
takes a while, especially when I'm making all of the characters so that nobody knows anything. Woohoo! Yeah, I'm watching the campaign on YouTube, but it only goes to the beginning of the Chroma Conclave. Then maybe I'll binge this weekend. Yeah, that's season 1 skips. Was it Craghammer? Yeah, I think it's Craghammer, and then the Briarwood arc, and then the season finale ends after the Briarwood arc and opening into the Chroma Conclave. And then I think season 2 is definitely confirmed, because they confirmed season 2 a year, so like right shortly after the Kickstarter ended. They had all the funding for season 1, and then they were trying to find a streaming service that would allow them to make an adult cartoon for adults. And then I think Amazon gave them the best deal and was the only one that didn't want them to basically make it for everyone.
Yeah.
And which I agree with for the most part. There's a lot of adult humor that is not for me. I am not here for it, but it's fine. I understand. And there's a lot of things that I enjoy that would have been taken out if they made it for everyone. So I'm like, it's fine. But then like Amazon was like, not only will we stream your season 1, here's the funding for season 2. And I was like, yes. But I think there are rumors that season 3 again, they're rumors, nothing confirmed.
Right.
But there are rumors that season 3 has been confirmed because of how well season 1 was streaming before the finale was released. So that's exciting. But they didn't, like, ever since the Kickstarter started, they were pretty much like, this is where we would get plotline wise. So
Yeah.
But I don't know if season 2 would be the whole of the Chroma Conclave or if that would go into 2 and 3. Because all things considered, the Briarwood's actually a pretty short arc, so fitting that into one season was fine. I will try to refrain from spoilers, though, since you don't want them. But I've watched Critical Role since they aired Campaign 1. I got to see Campaign 1's finale live. So I have the limited edition art books too. I'm a pretty big fan.
Yeah. I've only watched like one D&D campaign, and it was not Critical Roles.
Do you remember what it's called?
Yeah, it was Dimension 20.
I have not watched that one.
College
I
Humor.
want to.
One. So
I know the one of which you speak.
Yeah, so like it's a bunch of people that are like trained in improv doing a D&D campaign, so like it's just really funny.
And Critical Role is they're a bunch of, in their words, nerdy ass voice actors.
Mm-hmm.
So that was what got me interested in it, because I'm like, I know like most of you. I've met some of you at conventions.
Yeah.
So it was very exciting to see that and to see it grow and stuff. So it's also, let me tell you, Liam O'Brien, when he voices things, has one of the deepest voices in existence.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's hard to describe how baritone he is.
Yeah.
But then when he talks, his voice is probably on par with mine. And I'm like, hold up.
Hello?
Who is you? And then so like seeing that is really trippy sometimes. And almost the same with Laura Bailey. But Laura Bailey, like I'm used to her doing like character voices from like little kid voices and then full like older ladies and stuff. So hers I was used to the range. Liam O'Brien I have never heard as anything other than the male equivalent of "Step on Me, Please." Like that's just his voice. He's just always so deep. Like, go listen to some voice acting reels during this rant, and you'll see what I mean. So, like, just to hear him talk normally, I'm like, sir.
What is that voice?
It's whiplash. But yes.
No, that's cool though. Like voice actors doing it.
Yeah. I wish I had started watching back then, but I wasn't super into D&D. No, I have I got behind in campaign 2, and I need to catch up on campaign 2. So I was like, well, bye. All right, yes, I should end the poll because we know what we're doing. I gotta find a timer. Not a dog rabbit.
Did you say the name of that voice actor was?
Liam O'Brien.
Liam O'Brien. Okay. Yeah, I want to hear this man's voice. Is that a duck?
I legit had never even heard of this until I went on the writing retreat last October and the girls were watching it. Bruh. I love Critical Role. I just don't meet a lot of people in the writing community who, well, at least I didn't before the Kickstarter. Now, like, I assume because of the Kickstarter, because it like broke records and everything. So I assume that got a lot of people interested in it, which is fine because now I have so many more people to talk to about it. I'm loving it. I am not one of those people who's all like, well, I liked it before. No, I don't give a fuck. I don't care how you found it. I don't care when. Let's talk. Let's talk Critical Role.
Now, I do need to watch Critical Role because, like, I really enjoyed the Dimension 20 campaign.
It helps that a lot of them are also like friends because most of them. So campaign 1, I promise we'll go into the sprint. Campaign 1, a lot of them are playing D&D for the first time.
Yeah.
So they made very archetypical characters at first, like Vax'Eldon. Vax and Vex are twins. One's a rogue, one's a ranger, and like Vex is very confident and flirty, and Vax'Eldon is very like sassy and kind of shady and stuff.
Yeah.
But like as the series goes on and stuff, yeah, there's still those archetypes, but like they flesh out their characters and everything. And there's typically, like, you've started D&D, people learn the mechanics and then the role playing.
Yeah.
And that's very much how that group of friends did. Like, you can see it on screen with like Craghammer and stuff. They're into the role playing, but they still do like the mechanics, and a lot of like a lot of things their characters do are to fuck with each other.
Right.
As one do with your
Yeah.
friends. And then at the Briarwoods arc, kind of shit hits the fan, and they get deeper into the role playing aspect of it, and Matt brings like narrative and the overall background story more to the forefront.
Yeah.
And that's part of why they decided to start the animated series there, because they felt like that would be the most compelling starting point.
Yeah.
And so like from that point on, it's a really good mix. So if you like watching D&D shows, I definitely recommend Critical Role Campaign. One is unashamedly my favorites.
Yeah.
So
And it's just on like YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's on YouTube now.
Cool.
And Travis and Laura are married, and watching their like shenanigans of fucking with each other is also enjoyable. So Liam is such a good actor too. Watching him portray Vax is one of the best parts of the campaign, especially with how he interacts with the other characters, is amazing. I love it when like they're sitting there as players and you can just see, you know, that they're in their player face and they're checking their stat sheets and stuff, and then a character says something and they react in character, and like you know that they just went it's so great. But yes, I'll stop fangirling now so that we can do our final sprint. I have work to do.
Yes.
And it's getting late. I'm also losing my voice. Count us down, Matt.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
He just the duck just walks.
He just
Forever.
walks.
Just
He just walks. No dance.
walking forever and ever. That's not the one I wanted. Where to go? There we go. So, how did everybody do the final sprint?
I read about 4.5 pages, 5 pages, somewhere in that range.
Hold on, I'm sending my final. I had to do 3 purples almost in a row. There's one blue in the middle to mix it up, which blue is just tends to be, I don't like this phrasing, or I think it could be improved or something. But I like finished one purple and then I would go to the next one and I'm like, purple again. And then I finished that one and I'm like, why? This one page in particular. So much purple.
Mine
Who needs to know what the mob's mansion looks like?
Mine has been a lot of red, which is fix your description of this setting, because I'm not good at describing a place. So that's something that, like, throughout the draft, anytime a new location's introduced, I'm like, you need to do a better job of that.
People need to know what this looks like.
People need, like, I know you know what it looks like, Matt, but like they don't. So like they should.
I don't have that problem when I write fantasy, but if I write contemporary, I sometimes do, because I take for granted that people would just know what a building looks like.
Right.
And so I'll be like, sorry, yeah, I'm like, yeah, they go through the mansion into the chop shop, and it's like, Sam, people don't know what a chop shop looks like. And I'm like, why don't you know what a chop shop looks like? But like, there's some cars that are intact, there's some cars that are dismantled, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, I have to describe the chop. Hello, can I help you? She's like, Mother, this is not where we stream.
This is not the stream layer.
Okay, over here. Down.
Yeah.
I have to see.
I'm just like, yeah, they go from the one part of the room to the other part of the room and through a door to a different room. I'm like, that doesn't tell anyone anything.
That's fair. We need to know. I'm actually surprised there's not more descriptions of how rooms smell in this story, because that's usually what I lead with, what a room smells like. Like, anybody who's read enough of my writing will just be like, but Sam, why don't I know what it smells like? And nobody's cooking.
Smells.
Oh. No one's cooking, so there's no smell. No other smells exist.
There shall always be food whenever I write anything. Always food and smells and taste.
There were cheeseburgers in this short story. I don't remember if I took them out or not. May or may not be. I mean, that is what. Did you listen to Liam O'Brien?
I did, and I definitely know his voice. Like, it was like he was listening to the characters he's done. He's like, I'm like, yep.
So just remember that when you see him talking on Critical Role.
Well, and then I like searched like Liam O'Brien Critical Role to see him like role playing, and I'm like, this is cool, yeah. Because like the one I watched, like only one of the non-DMs did a voice for their character. Everyone else just used their normal speaking voice.
I do so many dumb voices for my characters, DM or player. I probably do more voices when I'm a player than when I'm a DM, just because I'm juggling things. But I definitely have a gnome barbarian who just has this. It's a random Celtic sounding accent. I'm not even gonna try to pretend to place it, because it's an imitation of a voice actor doing a wind demon accent. So like but it's just one of her things is that she doesn't remember anybody's names. So I just make up things for everybody. It's just be like, Red. It's like, yeah, what's your name? She's like, oh, I don't remember your name. It doesn't matter. You're Red.
You're Red.
He's like, but my name is, and she's like, yeah, that's what I said, Red.
Yeah, no, that's it.
I don't know. Have you gone back in time? What makes you think that? Are you from 2023? Hello. Sleep well, Jess. Bye. Join in at 5 minutes and got 111 words done. I appreciate this triple one. God. I'm sorry. So this is Artemis, patron saint of streams, right? But she usually doesn't actually come in my bedroom,
Yeah.
which is
She knew you were streaming.
yeah. But Balder does come in my room. This is like his spot and the only place he'll cuddle me in the entire house. And he just like walked up in the room and was standing at the foot of the bed like just like the cat
How
equivalent
dare.
of what the fuck is going on here? Got in a few hundred words. Also read a few more pages from an RP I was in ages ago. Yo, that's a rabbit hole that I'll go down sometimes, especially since I still have all my accounts to the forums I used to RP on. Triple one is pretty satisfying. Ah, yeah. I get sad whenever somebody's like writing ends in a 999 or a 9. And I'm like, I'm really happy for your progress, but also I feel this in my soul. Can I help you? She's like, you're not in a chair, mother. I can stand on your stomach more effectively. I have to do my outro. This is my other
She
cat.
shall outro. The offense.
He's so offended. He's like, I will not even look at you. And she's like, I ain't moving. He's like, well, what do I do now?
With my cat, like, if she's trying to like get my attention and I'm busy and I'm like, I can't pet you right now, she'll then just like go to an inanimate object and just like start rubbing up against it, just like, oh well, this door frame loves me. And I'm like, I'll get to you. You can't make me jealous of the door frame.
I know, Balder. I know. I don't know what to tell you. She's here. Yeah, they know. They see too. He's like, I just don't know what to do. He's just sitting now. I read over 200 pages, skipped significantly ahead. I feel that too. All right, so we should say good night. I'm losing my voice.
I'm losing my consciousness.
I mean, that's fair too. Matt, do your outro while I go find my checklist.
All right.
My cat came in here just to make life difficult. Now she's leaving me.
I'm Matt Hollon. I am a fantasy writer working on my debut dark fantasy adventure novel. I also have a pirate short story that will be coming out later this spring. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter to see all about that. I'm going to be posting about it a ton in March. A lot of stuff there. I'll be showing up in a lot of different places. I'll be in the dub. I'll be on Sam's channel. I'm doing other live streams. I'll be on a podcast. So look for me to be all over the place. And you got to follow me on Instagram to see all that stuff.
And I need to put my mic back down. And I am writing Mom Samantha Nasset. This is my channel where I talk about writer things, parent things, and writer parent things. On Mondays, I host live streams like this where we get productive, do writer things, talk about, fun stuff in between. And then let's talks like the one next week where we're going to be talking about Sailor Moon season 4. And next month we may be doing some movie let's talks because those are fun. If you would like to help support the channel, subscribe here because in my community tab, I will be posting like polls or questions and stuff to see what movies everybody would like for us to talk about. If you would like to see a sample of my writing so that you know that I'm not completely and totally full of shit and that I do in fact know what I'm talking about when it comes to writing advice, you can read my spooky flash fiction Until Pizza Do Us Part at SamanthaLNasset.com. And while you're there, you can sign up to my newsletter to stay up to date with all things Sam if you so choose. newsletter subscribers get like first dibs to reading the short stories, to beta-ing, and I try to always make big announcements in my newsletter first because I appreciate subscriber support. And if you would like to help us get the cool background and our corner fox back, you can help by tipping at my Ko-fi down below.
Give Sam money.
And yeah, I think that's everything. So remember to like, subscribe, ring-a-ding the bell. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Hope to see y'all again, and bye.
Bye.